not going to leave them here. Survivors begin desperate hunt for their families buried under the molten ash of Guatemala volcano which killed 109 amid anger that official search has been called off. Distraught family members are questioning why Guatemalan authorities have suspended its search for victims from the Volcano of Fire eruption that left 109 dead and an estimated 200 more still missing. A number of survivors are digging through dangerous molten ash themselves in the hope of finding loved ones who have likely perished from Sunday's blast. Bitterly enraged locals are accusing response officials of not trying to find bodies. Plant nursery worker Estuardo Hernandez, 19, is certain he knows where his parents are. The knowledge is driving him to desperation. He's sure they are buried inside the home where he grew up in San Miguel Los Lotes, covered by ash that swept down the Volcano of Fire into this small community. Lying on his stomach, he reaches into a narrow space left between the top of a window and the tons of ash now filling the one-story house. The ash is almost up to the roof, and his efforts are so futile he stops and weeps softly. Hernandez was talking to his father, Margarito Hernandez, on the phone when millions of tons of volcanic ash tore through a hamlet sitting on the volcano's slope. "He called me at 3:13 p.m. Sunday," said the younger Hernandez, who was working in Antigua that day. "The last thing he told me was to go far from here. The last thing I could hear was him saying, 'Get inside. There's a lot of fire out there.'" Hernandez peers into the narrow open space and points to the back wall of the house, where the litter hit the structure. "That's where they had the beds. I believe they went there." A few houses down, construction worker Alejandro Esquick, 45, got tired of waiting for the government to recover the bodies of his mother, 3 brothers and 4 nieces and nephews. He organized a group of fellow construction workers and friends Thursday to dig with shovels into the house, which is filled to the roof with ash. They made the most progress of any of the dozen families who defied police roadblocks to search on their own, and even they got only about 3 feet down into the mass of rapidly solidifying, still hot ash. "We need a backhoe, but authorities, have to authorize it first and they don't give permission," Esquick said. He is sure his 69-year-old mother's body is inside, because she used a wheelchair and couldn't flee. He's also sure his siblings wouldn't leave her. "They would never want to leave my mom. They were always with my mom." His only thought now, "Don't leave them here," he said with iron determination. "I'm not going to leave them here." Guatemalan authorities were warned to evacuate citizens from the danger zone surrounding a volcano more than 7 hours before it erupted. Local newspaper El Periódico revealed that from 6:00 a.m. on Sunday, the National Institute of Seismology alerted the National Coordinator for Disaster Reduction about the impending eruption of Guatemala's Fuego volcano. During the following 7 hours, until the moment of the eruption, the National Institute issued 2 further warnings which were not heeded by emergency response agency CNRD. According to the newspaper, it was not until 1:45 p.m., nearly 8 hours later, that the Disaster Reduction Coordinator finally raised the level of alert and sounded the alarm for evacuations to take place. Mario Tricina, a senior opposition figure, wants CNRD's boss dismissed and said the government should investigate whether there was criminal negligence. Guatemala's disaster agency, CNRD, suspended the search several times this week, including for most of Thursday. Volcanic activity dumped more than a foot of additional rock and ash on the search sites between Wednesday and Thursday, and officials worried downpours could destabilize slopes. Francisco Chavez showed up early with 2 sons, without tools, to check a collapsed house for a missing son, Edgar Otnil Chavez, his wife, Sandra Hernandez, and their 4-year-old, Josu. At first they dug with bits of broken boards and sticks in the thick ash, now turned concrete like by rain. Eventually, a few police officers took pity, and instead of running them off, lent them shovels and helped them in the desperate task of digging. But the huge ash field dwarfed their efforts, and the lack of government help angered them. They are cleaning the highway. The president has commitments to business people. But here, since the people have nothing to offer him, he leaves this part as a burial ground, said one of the sons, William Chavez, a 29-year-old accounting student. Anger was growing at President Jimmy Morales, who made only one brief visit Wednesday to the area. He didn't stop to talk to residents or reporters or offer much help. After a few minutes, his convoy sped off to a waiting helicopter. "Why did the president come if he didn't bring anything?" said Gloria Esperanza Lopez, 35, who brought tamales to donate to residents and rescue workers, but wasn't allowed to pass a police checkpoint. "How could he come with empty hands when we come with at least a tamal?" At a shelter set up in a school in the nearby city of Escuintla, Nohemi Ascon, 41, waited Thursday. She is the aunt of 6 children aged 1 to 8 who died in Los